Hi everybody, my name's Louise, I'm from The Vegan Larder. Today I'm making for you my very favourite cheesy spinach triangles. They're really delicious, they're full of cheesy flavours, 100% vegan obviously, and are really great as a party snack or to take out to your friends or to share around at a picnic. So, how do we do it? First of all, let's get our ingredients together. We need some cashews that you have soaked overnight. Or if you have forgotten to do that, just put them in some hot boiling water for about an hour. You'll need, about 400 grams of spinach. You need about 200 grams of squishy tofu, not super squishy, but kind of squishy. Some dill and some oregano, some miso paste, about a tablespoonful, some nutritional yeast, about 2 tablespoons full, some garlic, and some filo pastry. You buy that in the supermarket and it's always vegan, which is very useful. You'll also need some olive oil. Well, first of all, we want to wilt down all of our spinach, and that takes a little while in a pan and it's super easy to do. Watch me show you how to do it. Get your largest pan that you own. Put a tiny bit of that olive oil in. Like that. Turn your stove on. So my stove is one of these old-fashioned gas stoves, which is great, see? But I don't even use a lighter for it. Ow! Put the garlic in the pan. Simmer that for a bit. Simmer it. Put your garlic in the pan. Find your utensil that you can't find. Here it is. Find your utensil and get that garlic slightly golden. So when you can start to smell the garlic sizzling slightly and it starts to go a little bit translucent, that's the time that you want to put in your enormous amount of spinach. Make sure you wash your spinach really well. This is not a lie, you have to wash your spinach. It might be gritty, it might have pesticides on it. I get organic, but you know, not everyone can do that. Wash your spinach, guys. Don't worry about draining it too much, just dump the entire thing. I can hear it sizzling. Yeah, right, now it's time. Yeah, now it's time to dump the entire spinach. You can do it bit by bit. Don't drop it on the floor, I just did that. Just wilt it down bit by bit. Don't worry if there's too much, it will go into a tiny little bundle. Oh spinach, we love you, but why do you do that? Put it on. Wait for it to smoosh down. Anyway, while that's happening, what you want to do is get your blender, and put the, ooh, I can never get the lid off this thing. There you go. Lid, blender, put your cashew nuts in the blender, put your tofu in the blender, put your nutritional yeast, you got it, in the blender, and the miso. And I also have added some nice green olives. And the reason I put olives in is usually this cheese pies are usually made with some feta as well, and feta is really tangy and olives are tangy too. So a couple of olives, you don't have to put them in, it's not in my original recipe, but it's going to taste great, trust me. Right. You're going to blend that up till it's kind of like a cottage cheese / ricotta kind of thing. Right. Undo the lock on the chard lock on the blender. And here we are, now I've finished blending it. It's kind of a big cheesy kind of mixture. So it's kind of a thick, cheesy, kind of, yeah, delicious thing that we're going to use to mix in with our spinach and then fill our pastries with. Right, I'm going to put this to a side for 1 minute and now I'm going to finish doing the spinach. So, would you look at that? see, I'm gonna bring it over to you. That enormous amount of spinach has made one small kind of wilted version of spinach. So I'm gonna let that cool for a bit, and we are going to pot it into a big pot, and we're going to chop up the spinach, and then we are going to fill our pastries. What you're going to need to do is you're going to need to get a chopping board and a pot and your spinach. If your spinach is really full of water, you might need to squeeze it out a bit. Mine is fortunately not so full of water. So I'm just going to tip it directly onto the chopping board, and we are going to give it a chop, 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 chop. So we just chop it up roughly. I guess if you had a food processor, I do have a food processor, but it's a bit messy to use too. You could do that too, but I'm just giving this a really good chop. So what you need to now do is chop up your dill and your oregano. You could just use dill, doesn't matter. You could use dried dill, you could use parsley. Everything will taste slightly different, but I like to use a combination of dill and oregano just because that's what I've got growing in my garden. And they smell good, they smell like summer. So give them a really nice fine chop, like this. It's gonna be good. Gonna be great. Yummy. And put that in with your spinach mixture. The reason we don't cook them in with the spinach is that we want them to retain a bit of a fresh flavour. They will still be cooked in the oven, so you want to like give them a little bit of a cook, but not too much. Just fresh and delicious. Right, last thing we're going to do for the mixture is we're going to get all of that cheesy stuff that I just mixed up in the blender, and I'm going to put it in with this delicious spinach mix. Wish there was an easier way to do blending. I just make such a mess all over my kitchen. That might just be me. It smells so cheesy and tangy. Really yummy. Right, get as much of that out as you can. Now we're just going to mix this up all together. One big cheesy, spinachy, delicious lot. And then we're going to go to the next phase, which is making the spinach triangles. Yeah! Right, so now we are ready to actually fill the pastries with our delicious cheesy spinach mix and put them in the oven. This is exciting. So you're going to need an oven tray with some paper on it, some baking paper. You're going to need your filo pastry, and you're going to need a cheesy mix and some olive oil, like that, which you will then also need a pastry brush. Oh, and a knife. You'll need a knife as well. Let me get my knife out. Let me clean this knife first. Back in a second. The clean knife. Right, knife. So what you're going to do is you want to open out your filo pastry like that, and you'll see, let's get rid of that. You'll see that it is in really fine little bits of pastry paper, I guess it's called, like. Right. So I find the easiest way to do it is to figure out what a third is. That's about a third there. Then cut that. Cut that into a third. All the way down. And then remove the pastry that you're not working with. What you want to do is, once you have your third of a pastry, or third of the pastries that you're going to use, you get one sheet at a time. So just gently brush some olive oil over the top of that top sheet. Don't worry about it too much. Now, the easiest thing is to keep a little workflow going is to then flip that piece over. Now you can see that piece is now putting olive oil onto the bottom of it. Put a tiny little bit more on top. So you have already now pre-oiled the next piece. So this is going to be a bit faster than if you just had to do every single one every time. Now get about a tablespoon and put it in the top right-hand corner. And then you start to fold over in triangles. So triangle 1, triangle 2. And this then seals as you go. Don't worry if you can't get this perfect. It doesn't matter. It's easy enough to do with just a little bit of practice. So there you go, triangle 1. And just put that onto your paper. Now, triangle 2. And again, we're going to pick this up, flip it over, give it a tiny little bit more oil, and now you've already pre-oiled the next bottom sheet. So you're not using loads and loads of oil, because that would then make it really greasy, which is not so nice. Right, again, into the top corner, fold it over, fold it over, fold it over, and over, and over, and then the last little bit, you just give it a little fold, like that. Put it onto your tray, fold side down. Oops. And then you we do this over and over and over until you have done the entire lot. And I think here we're going to do a time lapse. Yeah! Finished all of these. Ooh, do they look good? I will probably go ahead and make and finish everything else as well, but for this, let's put these in the oven. Right. Get everything out of the way first. Right, let's turn the oven on and get these cooking. These will go into, I have a gas oven, so it's gas mask 5, which is about 180 to 200 degrees Celsius. And I'm just going to put these in for about 15 minutes until they're nice and crispy and golden. Perfect. I'll see you in a bit. Now our delicious cheesy spinach triangles have come out of the oven. I've left them to cool a bit, and now they're ready for me to show you. Don't they look amazing? So what I'm going to do is pile them up, ready to serve. There you go. Delicious spinachy, cheesy, spinachy triangles. Right, I'm going to eat one. Very good. Still warm, cheesy, spinachy. I really hope you enjoyed this recipe. Let us know in the comments below if you make it and what you thought of it. And let us know if you have any other suggestions of recipes you might like us to make. Hopefully at some point I'll be back cooking again with Vanessa. I'm really looking forward to that. And please, please give us a like, give us some love, and subscribe. And we'll be back very soon with another delicious vegan recipe from the Vegan Ladder. Bye my lovelies.